see on the screen is what we're
Oh,
doing.
yeah, this is it. Yeah. Hey, everybody. This is Kary Oberbrunner and Ali Nasser. And we have a very cool day today. We're going to talk all about the brand new book, The Business Owner's Dilemma. Ali, great to see you today. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Kary. It's great to be on with you and excited about everything that's happening right now with this book.
Oh, man. Listen, I got to hijack your party yesterday. Well, first of all, you had a party in Texas for the crowd that could be there. So how did that go? It was like at a restaurant. Was there cowboy boots? I mean, let me in on the inside world here.
No cowboy boots, but
Okay.
it was hosted at a coffee shop, wine bar
Yeah.
combination. It's called Slowpokes. It's
Slowpoke.
actually
Love it.
Slowpokes, actually where I wrote the book. So some people were there and going, well, what
Ah,
is the significance of this place? A really nice spot. And I was like, this is where I wrote the book, or at least the last year
oh, yeah.
of writing the book. So we had a great event, awesome community of people that came out. So many of the collaborators and friends from the book, my team, my
Yes.
family, parents were there. It was just a great, just a great event to celebrate something that was being worked on for 5 years. And that was us Thursday. And then
Yes.
yesterday we had kind of you joined us for the live stream launch party where we had
22.
You got it. 22, yep. And we had about, I guess, 6 or so collaborators, maybe 8 collaborators on the book to speak about the impact that the book made on them.
Yes.
And that was really cool because I received notes. Some of them we talked on the phone, but hearing it directly from their mouths as to what impact the book made on them was really inspiring and motivating for me. So
Wow.
it's been a great start to the book, and I think we've hit #1 in a couple of categories. That's not the most important thing. I mean, I think the impact is, but it's nice to see it hit the exposure on the channels for more organic growth. So really excited overall.
Okay. Well, I love what we're going to be able to do today because we're going to get a inside look at your book, and we're going to be able to talk about it in ways that perhaps many people wouldn't normally do, because a lot of my crowd is our authors. And so we're going to be able to take them deep behind the surface. But I am looking, yes, here it is, folks. So the paperback is in the #1 new release in free enterprise and capitalism, The Business Owner's Dilemma. Take control of the mental chatter. How many of us have that? Clarify your ideal future. I love that. And enjoy the success you've earned. Let's talk about that for a moment, because that is very hard for people to enjoy success when they've earned it. Why is it so hard for entrepreneurs to do that?
It's a variety of reasons, but it's so many entrepreneurs, when we start our entrepreneurial journey, we have to go all in, which could mean 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week. Most entrepreneurs start from nothing and they build up, their business, their wealth, and they start building and they start to build a subconscious habit of grow, 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 grow. And even once they've reached a point where they have the ability to potentially change that pace,
yes,
or enjoy some of the fruits of their labor, or pick a pace that's more manageable, many of them are so hardwired to just go at full speed that they have a hard time slowing down.
It's almost like addicted to adrenaline, or even, let's face it, if some entrepreneurs didn't start out wealthy in that type of environment, they almost think that if I let go of the gas pedal, it will collapse. What do you think?
You're diving right into the emotion, which I love.
Oh, yeah.
The statement that best describes this in my experience has been a business owner feeling, if I'm not going forward, I'm going backward.
Folks, post that in the comments if you can relate, because I'll tell you what, he's hitting a nerve. So if I'm not going forward, I'm going backwards.
Right. And many entrepreneurs, I think that the example that really has spoken to me, is actually a big reason why I wrote the book, was working with a group of business owners almost 10 years ago that had sold their companies. And they had hit, you know, what most people would consider the pinnacle of success, the summit of success, and they had sold their businesses for 20 million, 100 million, even 500 million dollars. I mean, big exits, you know. And while they had complete financial independence, they were struggling. They were struggling mentally. Many of them were like, well, how do I continue growth? What's next? What's my life after this business? My second act. And they were facing dilemmas on how to plan their wealth, how to continue growth, how to move forward on their journey. And it was incredibly paralyzing and overwhelming for them.
Wow.
And I remember one owner who just phenomenal, I mean, multi-$100 million exit. And he said, that's the one he said, if you're not going forward, you're going backwards. And it was so hardwired in his mentality and in his DNA that what he was doing is not looking at how he could plan and use his success in a new way based on him now being at this level. He was still operating as though he was in startup mode.
Yes.
So it just, his entire outlook was like, how do I force things to get started and go in the old school way, if you will, versus saying, what's my new normal? What are the resources and capabilities I have today with my existing success? I'm not where I was 30 years ago. I can employ people and systems and opportunities to really expand my success. He wasn't able to see things that way. His paradigm was very much where he started. And I could tell he knew, and I could tell like, he wasn't enjoying the journey. Wow. And it terrified me because I could see myself on that trajectory.
Oh, yeah.
So many of the business owner clients I had on that trajectory. Like, you're going to hit this outcome that you dreamt of. You won't be satisfied. You're just going to move the bar, raise the bar again to something else. And you're never going to actually truly enjoy the benefits and joy of your success. And you can still raise the bar. Always raise the bar. It's fun to raise the bar, but enjoy where you are, enjoy the journey, enjoy the benefits of what you've built. And I think
our mutual friend, Dan Sullivan, who actually is part of the reason why we connected, but he calls it the gap and the gain. Yes. Right? Yeah. And
I have the original, the OG right here in hands.
Oh, yeah.
This book, The Gap, the original, I probably bought, I don't know, 100 copies of this and have been handing it out since 2010. But yes, that attributes to it is looking at how far you've come. That's part of the equation. Wow, and the other parts, really need to be addressed. I think another part of the equation is the financial side.
So if we know, okay. Yeah. Talk to us about that.
Well, money's emotional. And many business owners, a huge part of them not being able to enjoy the success they've earned or being at that full speed is feelings toward money. Do I have enough? Do I need to keep building? I've met 100 millionaires that still feel like they're poor.
Wow. In fact, in your book, you basically talk about some client who thought the numbers were fake or something like that.
Yeah, there was a gentleman who had built an incredible $50 million plus balance sheet. And every time we looked at the screen with all of his assets, he couldn't absorb that was his wealth. He would still go back to, I remember when we couldn't afford lunch. I remember when we were poor. And the feeling, no matter how much wealth there was, the cup wasn't full. It was like there's a hole in the bottom.
Well, I hate to say it, but I think it's true. It sounds to me like that gentleman, because he was stuck in that dilemma, which is one of the three dilemmas, but it almost sounds to me like he was enslaved.
Yeah, I think that's a fair description.
Yeah.
A fair description.
So you talk about the three dilemmas. Let's get right into it because, well, first of all, the box and the whole kit is amazing. So I opened this up and like the question just busted me up in the head. Are you enjoying the success you've earned? It's like, whoa, wow. And then of course, there's some great stuff in here. We have the Wise coin, which is already up on my mantle here. But let's talk a little bit about the three dilemmas. So are you 20 years in the industry? I mean, you've been there.
Almost. I think I'm at 19, 19 now.
It's about me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So In your industry, you've seen a lot of people, and you kind of summarize it as 3 dilemmas. Can you
Sure.
tell us those 3?
Yeah. So working with entrepreneurs for nearly 20 years, there's a lot of thoughts I hear going through their mind. A lot of different dilemmas, thoughts, decisions. But I find that 90% of the thoughts around their personal wealth and life decisions surround around 3 dilemmas.
Okay.
And every successful entrepreneur along their journey is going to face these 3. The first is the reinvestment dilemma. I've been successful with my company. I'm making great profits. Where do I reinvest capital? Do I put it back in my business? Do I invest in real estate, in the market, in private equity deals, in crypto, in cash, stock market, bonds? Where do I park my capital? Where do I reinvest my capital?
Yeah.
The second dilemma is the legacy dilemma, which is a more emotional one, which is what is it all for? This wealth that I'm building, and sometimes building more than I might need.
Yeah.
What is it for? Is this for me? Is this for my children? Is this for charity? Is this for my ego? Is this for fun? Will my wealth be a source of empowerment for my family or children, or will it be a source of entitlement? What is it all for? And that's the legacy dilemma. And then the third dilemma is the exit dilemma. Do I scale the company? Do I sell it? Do I pass it on to my son or daughter, to my executive team? If I sell my company, will it give me freedom to pursue my passion, or will I have just sold my passion? What is my best exit strategy?
Wow.
And I find that those 3 dilemmas, when it comes to the personal side of wealth and money and business, that's where 90% of the mental real estate in an entrepreneur's mind, it surrounds one of those 3 or all of those 3.
I love those terms. Here's what we're going to do, folks. I know a bunch of you want your copy. We're actually going to give away a hard copy. We're going to mail this to you, and all you need to do is be the most engaged member. So what do you do for that? It means you tag somebody who needs to hear this. You might say, oh my gosh, I just talked with my friend last week, and they struggled with one of these dilemmas. Be a friend, tag them, and or share this. So we have Michelle from Montreal, we have Lori, we have Tanisha, we have a bunch of people watching. More are even going to watch the replay. But tag a friend and share it, and our team will look and see who's active, and then we'll get your address and we'll mail you this, okay? So you use this metaphor, Ollie, which I think is fantastic. It's about mountains, and I love when a book starts out with a metaphor because I think it gets us all on the same page.
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to share that.
Yeah. So talk about the mountain and the myth of it being tough to summit and all that stuff.
Yeah. So the example I gave earlier about business owners that I had met that had sold their companies for levels at up to 100 million or 500 million dollars. If we put that in a mountain climbing analogy, most would say, well, you've hit the summit of your mountain, right? You hit the $100 million exit, like that's the summit. And the analogy that comes to mind, because many of these business owners were really struggling after they sold their company with the identity, with what's next, with how to manage their success.
Right.
And a lot of them kind of lost themselves or lost their footing after having these exits. So the thought that came to mind is it related to mountain climbing. And when we think about the goal of climbing a mountain, what's the goal? And someone says, Kary, what's the goal of climbing a mountain?
Well, I'll tell you what, when I read the book, I said to reach the top.
Right. And that's what 9 out of 10 people will say. The goal of mountain climbing is to get to the top. In reality, the true goal is to get to the top and then to get back down safely so you can celebrate the success, enjoy the success.
Oh, that is deep, folks. Don't miss that. You got to catch that. Oh, man.
So now that may sound kind of like a dummy answer.
Oh, it's good.
But here's the meat of it. 80% of the accidents that happen when mountain climbing, they don't happen on the way up. They happen on the way down. We're so focused on reaching the summit, which is what we think is the goal, to get to the top, that we don't think about what happens after we summit, which is the descent, the journey down. And so many times in business, I see business owners who reach those levels, have the exit, reach levels of 6 or 7 or 8 figure incomes, but they don't have a path for what happens next,
Mm.
and they feel unfulfilled. They feel like they've kind of lost their purpose. So what's next? And there's no roadmap. There's no clear path to help them on the descent. And
Mm.
that's really what gave me a massive motivation to dive in deep and to write this book, is to create that roadmap for entrepreneurs to where you can see the total journey. So
Mm.
whether you're climbing or whether you're on the descent, you have a way to view your total picture and how to plan your life's work and capture your life's work and enjoy the success that you've earned.
That is brilliant. I love that. So you really say that the metaphor, you link it to the entrepreneur, and oh yeah, you have this other great quote where you say something about entrepreneurs never retire.
Mhm.
Talk to us about that, because
Yeah.
I think we think of these things, but your book just says it in a very clear way.
Yeah, I mean that we debated using that as the title for the book. Entrepreneurs don't retire. I think
Yes,
it might be a cool title. It definitely is the title of a chapter,
maybe a
and
talk.
discuss it, a talk maybe right now. I'm sure we'll expand upon it. But this notion, and I think the concept of retirement for in general is a flawed concept.
Mm.
I think as human beings, we're not designed to retire. And I think it's something that's been created in the system, but in many cases really isn't in anyone's best interest. But especially for an entrepreneur, the vast majority of business owners I've met that sold their companies have financial independence. They don't retire. And it's probably a 95 out of 100 statistic.
Wow.
And that's because our joy, and I think the greatest joy we have in life, is to use our gifts and to make an impact and to live our purpose.
Mm.
So now the purpose might have been when you first started your company, your purpose might have been to build something that could provide independence for you, security for your family, create value for your customer, opportunities for your employees. And you wrote that out and you had a successful time building that.
Mm.
And now you might be saying, well, you know what? I may not need the same things from my business, but I still want to build something. It
Yes.
might be mentoring or coaching. It might be, doing philanthropic work. It might be building another company that's even bigger and more challenging than the first company.
Mm.
But whatever that journey is, whether it's family, business, charity, community, whatever your combination is, what I call all of that collectively is the return on life experience that you want. Like, what's the life
Mm.
experience that you want? And return on investment is really important, but return on life experience, that's what really matters. And I encourage every entrepreneur, whether you're small, medium, large, exited your business, not exited your business, is to look at your current position and say, based on where I am today, how can I live the life that I truly desire and generate the return on life experience that I desire?
Mm.
And
That
that's
is so good. And I don't know, you probably knew this because you wrote the book, but we always say ROI, but you just said ROLE,
Yeah. What
return
role do you
on
want?
life experience.
You got it. What role do
Roll.
you
Oh my gosh, dude, that's hot.
want?
That is good. Well, you have Leia who, was on some of the
Oh
calls
yeah.
with us,
Leah is awesome.
early on,
Hey
and
Leah.
yeah,
I
and
appreciate you and
oh,
all
man,
your support with this book.
I'll tell you what, it's fun to work with incredible authors like you because I do learn a lot, and I'm one of the types of people where I don't just sit there and say, "Oh, that's nice for those people," but I had to look at my own life and say, "Wow, am I ready to climb down the mountain safely?" A gentleman named Stephen Kotler, who writes a lot on flow, would agree with what you're saying, where he says, if we are getting into flow with our life's work, and then we stop doing our life's work, kind of like what you're saying, we don't get into flow anymore. And I think our buddy Dan Sullivan said that a lot of people end up dying very quickly
Mhm.
when they retire, not because, but they've been put out to pasture. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you just said. The concept I talk about in the book is a Japanese concept called Ikigai. Ikigai. And I've illustrated it through the book in one of the chapters. And what Ikigai covers is the intersection. So imagine a Venn diagram, right? First
Yes.
circle is what you love.
Okay.
Second circle is what you're good at.
Mm.
The third circle is what you can get paid for.
Mm.
And the fourth circle is what the world needs.
Oh, that's good.
And I think if you're scrolling through the book, you might find it. I probably should grab it as
There's so many. Oh yeah, I see it. I see it. I see
you
it.
see it. So here I found the page.
Oh yeah, I found it.
I'll pull it up to
Yeah.
So that Ikigai is the intersection of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be compensated for.
Ooh.
And I think that when you use the word flow,
Yes.
which is what this gentleman referred to it, Ikigai, flow, you know, your rhythm, your unique talent, your unique ability, all these terms, they're referring to something that is the intersection of what you can give to the world and what the world can give to you.
Mm.
And that's kind of your happy place. And I think if you find that Ikigai, the Japanese translation, I believe, is reason for being, reason for being. And you find that, why would you ever give that up?
Mm.
It's almost like an artist. If someone, their Ikigai is art, it doesn't matter how much artwork they sell, how financially independent they are, they're not going to stop picking up a paintbrush. That's what they do. And entrepreneurs, their paintbrush was building a business or building something.
Yes.
So it's like telling an artist, you know, like, I don't understand. You sold enough artwork that you're wealthy. Why are you still painting? That's like telling an entrepreneur, what do you mean? Why are you still building another company? Why are you still working? That's their Ikigai. That's what they really, really enjoy. Ooh. So that creates a very different paradigm than, oh, are you going to retire?
Yeah.
A retirement would almost be like a crime for an artist or an entrepreneur or whatever it is, whoever you are that you found that passion. So
that's so good. That is so good. You know what's awesome too? I mean, I saw you in the process. First of all, folks, if you need a speaker, you gotta look at Ali's speaking skills. Okay, so go to his website. By the way, talk to us about your website.
Sure. It's just alinasser.com. ALINASSER.com. Yep. There's basically, I have four ways that I help business owners. And my purpose and calling right now in the world is to help business owners find their best path forward. And there's 4 ways that I do that.
Okay.
The first is through this book. It's funny, I'm pointing at it in the screen. The first is through this book, The Business Owner's Dilemma. This is for every business owner that has poured their heart and soul into building their company, and they want a path to help capture their success. The second is through speaking. I do speeches for national conferences. I do speeches at private CEO or business owner forums. If you've got a business owner group, if you've got a conference where there's entrepreneurs, CEOs, kind of entrepreneurs, spirited people in the room, I love delivering talks for those groups, and there's a variety of talks you can look at on the website. The third thing is we have WISE, the WISE Global Network, which you'll see a little logo here on the shirt, WISE.
Oh, yeah.
That is, if you visit wiseglobalnetwork.com, that is an education and coaching company, specifically so entrepreneurs can get independent perspective through a workshop environment to go deeper on everything they've learned about in the book in a workshop. So if you know strategic coach, it might be like strategic coach, but for your personal entrepreneur's personal wealth.
Wow.
And then the fourth area is Altruvista. This is a firm that I founded 12, 13 years ago now. So we're a boutique, and we do specific family CFO, wealth planning, asset management work for successful business owners. Our typical business owner there is about 20 million to 100 million of total net worth. There's certainly some above and below, but that's the sweet spot, inclusive of your company value. So total value, and you're looking for comprehensive wealth guidance and a team that can help bring the pieces together for you. That's what we do at Altruvista. So those are the 4 different paths that a business owner that says, hey, I'm interested in knowing more, or this is resonating with me. Those are 4 different ways that we can connect.
That's so good. That's so good.
Easy path is at alinasser.com or in my LinkedIn profile.
And look what Tanisha says. Ali was one of my favorite speakers at Igniting Souls Conference 21. Yeah.
Thank you, Tanisha. I appreciate that.
You did make quite an impact. I first heard you speak when I could fight through the crowd to meet you at the EOS conference, Entrepreneur Operating System. And it's awesome how you run with these great people. I mean, I mentioned Strategic Coach. We connected at EOS, brought you to my conference. But what I love about your heart is that you're not saying, "Oh, I only talk to people with 20 million to 100 million." The book is for everybody. The book is for, well, let's face it, like, it's for the people who are aspiring to have a business to sell something. Is that true?
I think it's going to speak to successful entrepreneurs at all levels. If you're on an entrepreneurial journey, the book's going to make an impact. You're going to get perspective over your whole journey.
Yes.
I had a gentleman yesterday who was one of the book collaborators, and he said, "Ali, I read this book, and I'm only 36 years old, but half of it was really relevant for me, and I felt like I was getting tangible things that I could use and benefit from." He goes, "The other half was like, you gave me a window to what's going to happen in the next 20 years of my life."
Ooh.
And I had no idea that was coming. So he's like, even though that wasn't relevant for right now, you give me the lens as to what's coming.
Yes.
I think regardless of where you are on your entrepreneurial journey,
yes,
the concepts in this book will benefit you. And I wrote this not for, I didn't write this, it's not about me. And it's all about my 1,000 experiences with other business owners on their journey and sharing the collective wisdom inside of a framework and a system that any entrepreneur can use to look at their own personal position.
Yes.
And it's not a highly technical book where it speaks in financial jargon or legal jargon over someone's head. It's written directly for the entrepreneur. So it's an easy read, but you'll receive a framework where you'll never look at your wealth and there's key dilemmas and complaints. You'll never look at it the same way once you've seen this framework.
So true.
Because it kind of creates a there you go.
Yeah.
Everything has a framework.
Well, and what I love about this book, as we kind of wrap things up, what I love about the book is so many times you get just motivation with books, and you hear a case study and you're like, wow, that's amazing, but it's not practical. And what I love about your book is that you're actually saying, like, yeah, here are some stories, but then let me show you exactly how you can do it. And so that's what I like. And how about those illustrations, man? Those things turned out really good. It's awesome to see the finished product.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, look at all this good stuff. So
it's exciting.
This is great. Well, maybe in our last 2 minutes, what's your ultimate dream from this book? Because I know you invested a lot of years, your team invested a bunch of time, resources, you name it. What do you hope happens from this?
Sure. Well, I'll start with what it's not about. What it's not about is jumbo book sales and revenue from the book. That's not important to me. 100% of the proceeds from this book are going to charity water. What really matters to me is one day, and this is kind of, someone says, what's that moment when you know the book was a success?
Yeah.
We kind of jumped this up 5 years ago. And I was like, once upon a time, I was on a flight reading a book called Rocket Fuel.
Yes.
And when I read that book, I got clarity. And I was struggling in a moment in life where I was overwhelmed with what's next, how to figure out my path forward. And the book gave me clarity and it gave me a path. And when I wrote this book, my dream was one day there's a business owner that's, they hit the ball out the park. They started the company, they took the risk, they were really successful. And they're now going, how do I plan my success? How do I capture my success? What's next? Maybe they're at the top of the mountain and they want the plan for the descent. And they read this book and it gives them clarity. It gives them a way to capture their life's work, and all those years of blood, sweat, and tears they put into building their business. The book helped them capture that success and realize that success. That's my dream. And I want to do that for thousands of business owners, hopefully millions of business owners one day, and meaningfully change the outcome And my experiences and the experiences of 1,000 entrepreneurs that I've worked with can help benefit them on their journey. And that's the ultimate goal.
That is amazing. Well, folks, you heard it right here today. Amazon's no joke. I mean, the book is #1 new release in multiple categories. It's a beautiful book. I mean, look at the books that they lump it with. It's like amazing. The Dan Sullivan, Gino Wickman, Mark C. Winters. Folks, get your copy of this book before they sell out. We've seen that happen before where people rush too much and they're like, oh, crud, it's out of print. So get your book. And we even put links here where they can order the book and get bonuses.
Yeah, there's some free giveaways if you have the book order through the website.
Yeah.
So check that out. You'll get some free downloads and giveaways. And there's even, depending on your bulk order purchase, there's some live workshops you may get access to, or potentially if someone's got a big group, there may even be a keynote opportunity attached to a bulk buy.
Well, we brought you in for our conference, and the people loved it. And folks, give Ali a shout out. I'll tell you what, as an author, you do invest your heart and your blood and your sweat and your tears into a book. And it is like, I've never birthed a baby, but a lot of women tell me that having a book is like birthing a baby. Who knows?
That's quite an analogy. So,
except it takes you 5 years instead of 9 months. Yeah. But Ali, thank you so much, my friend. And we are just celebrating your success, and we're going to push people your way. So as you meet people that struggle with the business owner's dilemmas, those three, send them to Ali. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Kary. Appreciate you and appreciate everyone tuning in.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you.
Thank you.